there, my name is Wennie Huang, and I'm a teaching artist with ArtsWestchester. I'm a multidisciplinary artist, meaning I work in a lot of different media. And I'm going to be showing you a technique that I developed that is inspired by the work of Louise Nevelson. It's a very simple project where you can use your recycled materials and you can cut them up and adapt them and assemble them into a monochromatic sculpture. So what you're going to need for this project are a good pair of scissors for cutting apart your recyclable materials. It's also really helpful for you to have a glue gun, because this is how you're going to be gluing down the plastic recyclable pieces that you're going to be cutting apart. You're also going to need some containers and other items that you might have collected, and I've sorted them into monochrome colors, but those are going to be great to reuse and adapt. And then it's good for you to have some kind of a board. It could be the back of a pad or something that you're going to be gluing things down onto. I want to show you some examples before we start of what we're going to be making. So here is a piece that I've made, and you can see, maybe you'll recognize some of the items here. This is inside of a coffee mug, and this is the handle of a milk jug. If I turn it this way, you might be able to see it a little bit better. And this is a lot of fun. You can even hold it this way, is maybe a little bit more interesting. What I'm going to do right now is I'm going to be sharing some of my process in terms of how I start with this much smaller scale sculpture that's made out of recyclable materials. So I'm starting out with some materials that I've gathered. I've separated them already into white and black. This is the the opening of a carton with the lid, with the cap of the lid, this is the lid of a spice container, and so I'm going to be using this. I'm really excited about that. And I've also got the darker black containers. I've rinsed everything out, and I'm really excited about using that. And I have a whiteboard, again, as I showed in the beginning, the back of a pad. And I also have a black a piece of construction paper that I'm going to be gluing the black pieces on. And I'm doing this, separating them, because I want to work in monochromes, just like Louise Nevelson did. And I'm going to start with the white one. This is the one that I showed you in the beginning, again, just to remind you to sort of see how I had put things together, left spaces in between. I sort of organized things. That's a coffee lid. You know, so it's fun to sort of gather these items and to look at their different shapes as I'm cutting them apart. So starting with these, the first thing I'm going to do is I've cut them already and separated a little bit, and I've turned my glue gun on because I'm going to be using that to attach everything. And so you know, and I also have my scissors ready to go in case I want to snip anything a little bit smaller. The orange ones that I have here can cut the plastic a little bit better. And I'm just gonna do almost, I think, of like a little layout to figure out where things might go. This is a really fun part for me because I haven't thought about it yet, and so you know, I like figuring out where things might fit in, and I do want to make some nice spaces in between them. And maybe I'll cut this so that it'll have an interesting angle. I think I kind of like that. Placing it down. And let's see, maybe not that one because it has some print on it that might be distracting. I sort of like it when they don't have the print, so they're just a little, it's not so obvious what I'm using. I love this one. Is like the top of a toothpaste tube. That's the sort of little cap you pull off on a milk carton. I'm just going to cut the spoon and use the spoon part so that I can get an interesting shape inside of, well, I'm not sure where, but maybe inside of the shampoo bottle might be kind of interesting right there. Okay, so let's see, and a straw I love these bendy straws. They're so much fun. I save a lot of items, that I use anyway. If I got some drink outside and I like to save it and reuse it, like to wash it out and make it clean and then adapt it for this. So I've got everything kind of laid out. And you can see that there's interesting spaces in between them. And now I think what I'm going to do is I might just move things around a little bit to create a more sort of modular, rectangular areas, like the boxes that Louise Nevelson's sculptures are arranged into. So there's a little bit more geometry. My glue gun's ready to go, or just about ready to go. I might have to sort of heat that up a little bit and play around with that. So I'll be right back and show you that in a minute. Okay, so I finally got the glue gun to work, and now I'm going to start gluing down the pieces. And I'm basically just going to give the glue gun a little squeeze. I'm thinking about what part of each shape, since some of these shapes are rounded, which parts are touching the board. And the glue dries really quickly, so I'm trying to move this, and it's not budging, but that's okay. I feel like it's a tiny bit crooked, but that's all right. And I'm going to continue gluing down the different parts. Again, thinking about what part is going to be touching the surface underneath. And you do want to be a little careful, because if you touch the glue part, it is very hot, and you'll feel a little bit of a sting. So, but this is a lot of fun to do, and you have to be a little fast also, because the glue gun dries. The glue dries very quickly, it cools very quickly, and once it's heated up. So I want to be careful not to put my finger right on those places where the where the glue is, because it will probably sting a little bit if I do that. I feel a little heat there. Here's that straw that I cut. I'm going to be putting down on the bottom, and then I have another piece that I'm going to be adding at the top there. And let's see. So I think I'm going to show. I'll be right back. I'm going to show you a faster version. So I just sped up. I did a little recording of me gluing down the sections so that you could just see it. I love these sped up time-lapse videos anyway, but it's really fun to sort of see how things sort of come together very quickly. So I've glued everything down with the glue gun now, and I just want to show you, I'm just pulling away some of the glue gun threads. They're sort of like spider webs almost, and I love that part. But everything's pretty solid and doesn't really move, and I just love how sculptural everything is. I think this is something you could hang on the wall you could even add more to it as you sort of collect more items. It's just a lot of fun. So I hope you enjoyed that demonstration working with recycled materials. And I really liked some of the sections quite a bit. I'm pretty happy with the way this came out. And I even like that some pieces continue to be able to move. On the side, I like how much it sort of comes away from the board, so I could sort of really tack this up. I think that might be very interesting. I am going to show you also a version that I did with the darker pieces that I collected, because I think that's kind of fun, and Louise Nevelson did a lot with spray painting things black. Of course, we're just using the natural color for plastic, but they tend to be all monochrome anyway. So I'll be right back, and I'll show you a little bit more with that. Just stay with me a little bit. So I've got the darker pieces now, and I'm going to be gluing them down onto the black construction paper that I have. It's a little stiffer than construction paper. It's really the part of a pad, and I've got these. I guess they were sauce. I think they held marinara sauce. I'm like looking at these containers, and I'm remembering the food that I had eaten that was, had been in them, and I love cutting these in half, just straight cuts. I love the geometry of that, and since I have two, I like to think about cutting the second one maybe a little bit differently. You do want to be careful when you're cutting the plastic. You want to be careful about the edges can be a little bit sharp, so you do want to be go a little slowly and sort of make sure you're paying attention. Okay, so I finished, and I am thinking about putting on another piece, but I think that there's probably enough here already, so I'm going to turn off my glue gun. It definitely makes sure you want to turn that off. And then I'm just going to, you can see all the glue gun threads that are like spider webs, and I can pull those apart, but I'm just kind of moving things around to see that everything is tacked down nicely and nothing is really shifting. Oops, I forgot something. I did forget something here, so I'm just going to put a little bit more glue there, and finish that off. And I think my gun is still warm enough that I've got hot glue to stick. There's a bit of extra, and maybe I'll do a little bit more. Just to finish off, I hate having leftovers, but it's also, these are interesting shapes, and I think that from the side view they can be give variety and contrast, which I like. So in some of these pieces, I'm just going to pull away these spidery webs, But I'm very, very excited about this piece. Very happy with it. So I just wanted to thank you so much for joining me today. I'm really happy with the way that my pieces came out. I think they have some of the interesting negative shapes that are in the Louise Bourgeois pieces, but on a mini scale. So this will actually fit in my small Brooklyn apartment. And I hope that you're going to collect some of your recyclable materials and transform them into these sculptural works and to play with the monochrome. I've done some also where I did add in a little bit of color, little pops of color here and there. I think that's really fun. If you start to notice you've gathered some more sort of red plastic pieces and you want to incorporate those into your monochrome white sculpture, you can. And what I also love about these is that you can add on more as you go. So you don't have to finish in one sitting. You can continue to add as you collect and find or clean out interesting containers that you have, instead of recycling them, really transforming them into an art piece. So good luck and have a lot of fun.